Ready to conquer your debts and pave the way to financial freedom? Let's explore the two common methods, the debt snowball and the debt avalanche. So my aim is simple on this channel. It's to educate and learn from people about money and how to grow wealth. Learn how to manage money, be debt free, and grow your money for your future self. So what is a debt snowball? Debt snowball basically is a method where you pay off your loans from the smallest to your biggest. So in this method, what you have to do is list all your debts. So step one is make a list of all your debts regardless of the size or interest rates. Once you've done that, the step two is to order your balance. So arrange your debt from the smallest to the largest balance. Step 3 is to make minimum payments. So continue making minimum payments on all debts except for the smallest one. And once you've done that, you then attack the smallest debt. So allocate any extra money you have each month towards paying off the smallest debt. So you remember from the video I made about how to save £1,000 and the budgeting video, you will have learned, whatever cash you've got free. So step 5 basically is once the smallest, so the principle on this method is once the smallest debt is paid off, you basically use that money to then pay off the next smallest debt. So for example, you pay off loan 1, you then go to loan 2, use the money that you were paying onto loan 1 onto loan 2. This basically creates what you call a snowball effect, where the amount you're putting towards your debt repayment grows over time as you progress. You basically keep repeating this until all your debts are paid off. In the past videos, I've considered what debt you should pay off and what you shouldn't. So typically, you don't want to pay off your mortgage early on. Maybe you can pay off a bit, but not all of it. These are things like your car loans, if you're in the US, your student finance, etc. So now that we've gone through the debt snowball of what it is and the method and the steps, let's actually look at what a debt snowball example looks like. So, essentially it's a replica, but in this case we're going to add some numbers here. So step 1, list all your debt. So in this case we've got loan A, which is $500, so with a minimum monthly payment of £50 and an interest of 5%. Loan B, £1,200. So loan 2 is £1,200 with a minimum payment of £75 and an interest rate of 8%. We've got loan C with a minimum monthly payment of £100 and an interest rate of 10%. Once you've allocated or listed your debt and your interest rates and your minimum payments, you order the balance. So in this case, you arrange the debt from the smallest to the largest. So we've got loan A at 500, loan B at 1200, and loan C at 2500. Next step is basically you have to make your minimum payments. So continue making your minimum payments on all debts. So in this example, we are looking at £50 for loan A, £75 for loan B, and £100 for loan C. Now what we're going to do with our extra money is attack the smallest debt. So basically you allocate any extra money you have each month toward paying off the lowest debt that you've got. Let's say you can afford to pay, I don't know, you worked out that you've got £50 extra saving per month. So what you want to do is make the £50 minimum repayment on loan A, plus you add in the extra cash that you have left over. So you're paying off the minimum payment plus an additional £50, and plus your minimum payments on loan B and C. And then step 5 is basically you repeat this until your loan A is paid off. So i.e. you're making £100 payment to that loan with an additional £50 included within that. And you can add Once this loan A is paid off, you can then work towards paying off your loan B. So, loan B, if you remember from our example, we are looking at $75 minimum repayment. So with our 75 plus, now we have a surplus of not only the minimum from loan A plus another 50 that we were already saving. So we can now pay £175 overpayment towards loan B, and then you rinse and basically repeat until loan B is paid off, and eventually your loan C. Remember that personal finance is behavior first, basically. So, then it's your head knowledge, because you wouldn't have got into debt if you were already knowledgeable about, what is good debt and what is bad debt. So always consider that first. It is debt snowball method. It's not the most efficient method mathematically, because you are not paying the highest interest on your debt, but you are paying off the smallest debt first. This method is great from a behavioral perspective, as we can get a sense of achievement by paying off one loan at a time, and it's easier to achieve this sense of achievement by paying off your smallest, then your second smallest, and then your whatever the next case is. So in comparison then, what is a debt avalanche? Well, debt avalanche is a similar but quite opposite in some respects. So basically this is, let's consider the same scenario, loan A, B and C. But in this case, you are not paying off the smallest loan, you are paying off the highest interest rate loan. So that's the subtle difference. The debt avalanche focuses on minimizing, the total interest paid over the lifetime of your debt that you're going to repay. So basically what you want to do, again, in this case, is list all your debts, make a list, regardless of the size or interest rate. You then want to order by interest rate, so arrange your debt from the highest to the lowest interest rate. You make your minimum payments, of course, so you continue making all the minimum payments to all your debts. Now the next step is where you've got the extra money or cash that you have left over after you worked out your budget, is then to attack the highest interest debt. So you allocate any extra money you have towards this highest interest debt, and then basically you keep attacking this loan until it's paid off. You then move on to your second highest interest debt, then you move on to your third, etc. So let's go through an example of this. So list the debts. So in this case, we've got loan X, Y, and Z with 500, 1200, and 2500. Next, we want to order these debts in terms of the interest rate paid. So arrange them from the highest to the lowest. So in this case, we've got loan Z at 10%, loan Y at 8%, and loan X at 5%. Next is, obviously, you want to make your minimum payments. So continue making minimum payments on all your debts. So this will be your £50 on loan X, £75 on loan Y, and £100 on loan Z. Step 4 is basically, this is where the debt avalanche kicks in. You allocate any extra money you have each month toward paying off the debt with the highest interest rate. So let's say you can afford to make, again, as in the previous scenario, £50 per month. So month 1, you're going to pay £50, £75 and £100, your minimum payments. But in this case, you are adding your £50 to loan Z, which has the highest debt. So you're making a £150 contribution to this debt. You keep doing this until loan Z is fully paid off. Once that's fully paid off, you repeat on your second largest interest rate debt, and then you repeat again and you do it for the third one. The debt avalanche method basically is designed to save you money on interest over long term, as you're sort of targeting your debt from an interest perspective. So you're going to attack your debt which has the highest interest, which sort of makes sense. but it's totally down to you. So it's not the same as a quick psychological victory as debt snowball, but it can be more financially efficient method if you do go down this route. So which is better? Well, it's totally down to your preference and your mindset about money and your behavior. As I've said before, the key difference between the debt snowball and the debt avalanche is in the order that which you prioritize your debt. Debt snowball being the lowest debt first, and debt avalanche being you pay off your highest interest debt. So it totally depends which method that you think best aligns with your financial goals and your preferences. For me personally, I think it makes more sense if I had multiple debts to pay off the highest interest debt. But again, this is your personal journey, so you make that decision. It also depends on how much money you've got on each loans and what percentage these loans are. So if you've got some ridiculous percentage, then surely it makes sense to pay that off first. So thank you for listening. As always, I hope this video motivates you to pay off your debt, whether you choose debt snowball or debt avalanche method. It doesn't really matter, as long as you achieve repaying your loans off and continue your path to be debt free in the future. So thanks as always for listening, and if you like this video, please let me know. Cheers, bye.